morning, everybody. So I'm actually doing this pretty early today. Normally I don't do these until a little bit later on in the evening, but got a lot of stuff going on today, so I wanted to go ahead and get it knocked out. That way I know that it's posted and everybody can actually watch it today. So we are back to do our next name in our Advent study, and just for anybody that's new, hasn't seen the videos yet, we are doing an Advent devotional, Unwrapping the Names of Jesus. So this is the book, and I've just been going through and doing the Advents, both the candles like they do in the church, as well as each day we go over a new name of Jesus and kind of talk about it and that sort of thing. So that's what we've been doing with this series. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is day 16 of our Advent, and this one is Jesus is the Alpha and Omega. I am the Alpha and the Omega, says the Lord God, who is and who was and who is to come, the Almighty. Revelations 1:8. For those who are unfamiliar with the Greek alphabet, this name may not mean much at first, but simply saying Alpha and Omega means A to Z. Wouldn't do it justice. Alpha and Omega are the first and the last letters of the Greek alphabet and represent the entirety of not just letters, but all knowledge, all existence, and all time. From beginning to end, Jesus was, is, and will be, and all things live, move, and have their being in him. Acts 17:28. There is nothing outside the realm of his presence. He sovereignly rules over all existence. Through him, all things were created that will be, and in him all things hold together. Colossians 1:16-17. But Jesus is not only the beginning and end of all creation, he is also the author and finisher of our faith. He experienced the full range of human life alongside us, yet without sin. From his birth in a humble stable to being ostracized by his own community to hanging on a cross like a criminal, Jesus lived the life of faith, entrusting himself to his Father and walking in obedience. And when he breathed his last breath, he declared, "It is finished." The work of justification and its beginning and its end in Jesus. Jesus did all this looking at his current circumstances through the eyes of faith, knowing the joy set before him. Hebrews 12:2. For Jesus, that joy was knowing that he would be resurrected in glory and spend eternity with his bride, the church, which he came to save. We can take comfort in our Alpha and Omega, knowing that whatever we experience in the journey of faith, we are not alone. Jesus has gone before us. He welcomed us into his journey, and he will see us safely to the end. Alpha and the Omega, that's one of the I think probably the most common, one of the most common that we hear. I do like that they addressed how, if you didn't truly understand the meaning of Alpha and Omega, how it could be interpreted as simple A to Z, or beginning and end. But without understanding what it truly is and what those words mean, as well as who Jesus is, that's all it is. It's a simple A to Z, beginning and end. We don't realize the significance of it. But when you actually dig into it and really put Alpha and Omega, in the context of God and what that would mean, how awesome is that? He's was there at the beginning, he started it all, he made it all, and he will be there at the very end, when he comes back to earth to finish the war. But it goes even deeper than that, and saying, not only is he the beginning and the end, but he is the author. He is the one, that literally has wrote every, it's like if, life was a book. He's literally wrote every single piece, every single chapter, every single life, every single, little minute detail, just that little minute detail he has done. So, and it's, saying he's the author of our faith, which is the truth. He came to earth. He taught us all these things. He gave the word of his Father. He gave his message, and spread it to the world, as he traveled, and he did the missionary work that he did, the miracles he performed. All of those things were there to build our faith, and to give us a faith in him, and that's exactly what he did. And he's still, making these chapters, making these pages, and he already knows the end. Like he said, it is finished. As soon as he breathed his last, it was finished. So now all we have to do is live by faith and hope, in his waiting for him. So it's a really awesome name. It's a very powerful name when you think about all the context with it. So we will go to the challenge. It says, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. Trusting God's character regardless of what our life circumstances look like. In what area of your life do you need to trust the author and perfecter of your faith? Surrender it to him today, asking him to continue to work faith in that area of your life. That's a tough one. Let's read it one more time. Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see, which is Hebrews 11:1. Trusting God's character regardless of what our life circumstances look like. In what area of your life do you need to trust the author and perfecter of your faith? Surrender it to him today, asking him to continue to work faith in that area of your life. That's definitely, it's a good challenge, but that's definitely a difficult one, or can be, for sure. I think so, I think it's just human nature, for a lot of us to be fixers, so that means we want to, go at it, fix it ourselves, get it done, only trust ourselves to do it, that sort of thing. So it takes a lot to turn that over to God, and to have that faith that he will take care of it and he will finish it. It's very difficult. I know for me, that's one way that I got overwhelmed, and even very much contributed to my drug use at the time, was because I was so focused on me, what I could do, like, let me figure this out, let me fix this, I can do this, all those things, all the things. And I depended on my own strength and my own understanding of things, and did things the way I would do them. But I never stopped to actually ask God, well, what would you do? How should I handle? I never stopped to seek his guidance. So in doing that, I got overwhelmed a lot, and definitely got myself into some situations trying to help someone that I probably should have never been helping to begin with. So because that's the, we want to help. That's a part of having a servant's heart, for those of us that have that gift. But there is a time and place for it, and that's something I've had to learn, because it could be something as simple as, this just isn't for you to do, this isn't the job that God has chosen for you. It can be something as simple as that. It can also be even more in depth, where we are trying to help these people at the detriment of ourselves, and that's not a good thing either, because we can't give from an empty well, and that's what happens when we continuously help, other people and don't focus on ourselves at all and don't even try to take care of ourselves. As well as the fact that sometimes these people don't have, your best interest in mind either. And they will drag you down with them if you let them. It's a very fine line, and it's one that I've had to become very intimate with, especially being a recovered addict, because of course I want to help others that are in the situation I was in, because nobody deserves to have to go through that. And it's a hard thing to deal with, and it's incredibly difficult to get out of it, especially if you don't have support or somebody trying to encourage you, those sort of things, the resources, whatever. So of course I want to help, but I've had to learn how to offer that help but not reinsert myself in that life. And it's a difficult line to walk sometimes. It very much is. But it's something you have to learn how to do, because you can't let the outside world come in and taint your faith and taint your belief, and pull you off track. So you can't allow that to happen either. And the only way to do any of that and make sure that doesn't happen, or even help people to begin with in the right way, is to depend on God, and have faith in Him and what He tells us to do. And it's just like it's talking about trust God's character regardless of what our life circumstances look like. So even that can be difficult, right? Because it's, we don't ever know what anybody's going through, and that's a hard thing to do sometimes, especially if you're sick, or you've lost someone, lost a job, maybe your hard times financially, maybe you don't have a home. These situations are really hard to deal with on their own, much less try to maintain your faith. But it's essential that we do that, because even though those times are hard, and it is a trial, that's the point. Our life is going to be full of trials because of the world we have made. We no longer have that perfect Eden, because we abandoned it and we chose that. So now we have to live with those consequences, and that's part of it, is living a life that is less than perfect, and has those challenges. So we have to trust Him in our circumstances, no matter what they are. We have to have faith in Him, and He will get us through it. It doesn't feel like it sometimes, but He will see us through if we have true faith in Him, and we just dedicate ourselves to following Him and following His teachings. There's the old saying, what is it? Fake it till you make it, right? Well, sometimes you have to do that in faith. I know that sounds crazy, because we have to, be true believers to have Him in our heart. So we can't fake that part. But what we can do is, even if we don't feel like it that day, we wake up, we got so much stuff going on, I ain't got time to read my Bible. Yeah, you do. Make that time. That's what I mean by fake it till you make it. Because it's easy to get caught up in this hustle and bustle of life, and it's easy to put stuff like that on the back burner, because maybe not even intentionally, like, oh, I don't want to read maybe it's like, well, I'll find time for that later, or I gotta get this done first, whatever it is. And then it just keeps getting pushed back until, well, our day's gone, and now we haven't intentionally spent time with God. We haven't spent time with Him in the Word or in prayer. And all of these things are essential to keep our faith strong, and to give us those skills to deal with our circumstances. That's the whole thing about having that faith. If we have that faith and we actually look in His Word, and we actually speak with Him, and do all these intentional things, that is where we get our tools to deal with our circumstances, because our tools come from Him. Our strength comes from Him. So if we're not being intentional about that time with Him, and praying with Him, and just resting with Him, and learning, His Word and what He says and all of the things, then we are not equipped to deal with our situations, to deal with our circumstances. And then of course we're going to lose faith, because we didn't build it up. We didn't keep it strong. We didn't do the things we needed to do to meet God where he is. He comes to meet us, but we have to be willing to continue to meet him afterwards. We have to be willing to talk to him, go to him, be intentional about our time we spend with him, and all of those things, so that's where the Alpha and the Omega part comes in. He is the Alpha and Omega of all creation. He's the Alpha and Omega of our faith. So we have to be intentional about that. So the actual challenge is, in what area of your life do you need to trust the author and perfecter of your faith? Surrender it to him today, asking him to continue to work faith in that area of your life. And there is the hard part, is laying it down. Surrendering is the hardest thing, in my opinion, about being a Christian, because it's not natural to us. We're not used to giving that control and turning it over, because I don't want to say we're control freaks, because I'm sure not everybody is, but I definitely am. And maybe you're not a control freak, but you have a hard time letting other people, figure things out for you or whatever. But that's what we have to do with God, because we cannot lean on our own understanding. There's one thing I have learned in my 30 years. We cannot lean on our own understanding, because we suck at it. We really do. And every time we do, at least in my experience, every time I have ever leaned on myself and done it my way, and all these things without checking in with God, making sure that I'm being intentional, with the way I'm handling things, making sure that I'm handling them the way that he would, and letting him shine through me. When I do things without those, components, it always goes wrong. Always. And, so that is definitely can be one of the most difficult things as a Christian, is to surrender those issues, especially like with something like this, because like I said, it says, in what area of your life do you need to trust the author and perfecter of your faith? So that's literally asking, what part of your life isn't quite up to par with your Christian walk. And it's hard to actually sit there and kind of take inventory. It can be very uncomfortable. It can be very scary even sometimes. So it can be really difficult, but I would encourage you to do it, because one, we have to be fully turned over to God to serve him, right? So if we have an area we're holding back, that we're not having complete faith in him about, then we're not surrendered to him fully. So therefore he can't do the work that he needs to do, and he can't use us as the instruments he needs us to be. So I would highly, highly encourage you to really take inventory today and kind of do this work on this challenge. Take inventory of your life and really think about maybe a place that you don't completely trust him. And whatever that place is, we need to go to him and we need to surrender it. And don't get me wrong, I know it can be easy to say that and then, turn around and pick it back up. I've done that before myself several times. So it is difficult. I'm not going to say it's not, but the way that we make sure that it stays surrendered is if it comes back up, or we have those feelings, we have to be intentional. That's part of, doing the reading in the Bible, looking up these verses that have to do with any of these feelings that you have, all of these things, because it gives you those tools to recognize when those feelings are coming up, and when those doubts are coming up, so that you can stop yourself and be like, wait, that's the devil. I know better. I know that's not true. But that's the only way to develop those reflexes, is to be intentional, be in his word, and be in constant prayer with him. We can't do it on our own. and the devil will slip in every time that our guard's down. So that is how we truly surrender, is to lay it down and then learn and be aware and be intentional about it. It's such a freeing thing to do that. When you truly have your life turned over, like I can give you an example from me. My family is definitely one of those things that I do struggle sometimes to completely turn over to God, because I don't want them to go through what I did. I don't want them to have to experience the things that I did as a child, especially like the bullying and stuff that I endured. That was also a big contributor that led me to drug use, and having the poor opinion I had of myself and the horrible thoughts I had about myself. All of that was built from a young age because I was constantly bullied when I was a child. So, it's really hard not to be overprotective mom, and mama bear. So it's something I have to really work at. And one of the ways I do that is to stay in prayer with God about it. And in any situation with my kids, I stop for a second and I'm like, okay, is this what God would say? Is this what he would do? Is this how he would act? And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say I'm successful, every time. I will say that the devil does come in and get the better of me on occasion. But it's very rare, and it's usually after several attempts at turning the other cheek. I usually do my absolute best to not have those moments happen. So that's one of the places I struggle, but I make sure that I'm constantly in prayer about it with him. If I feel those anxious feelings coming up, even with my husband, I have those fears. He goes to work on Woodruff Road. I have irrational fears about him not coming home one day because he gets in a car wreck or something. I do. And it's because the devil uses those fears in us. Like he knows that I've lost people that I love in crazy circumstances, that has made me leery of anything as possible, and it can mess with me a lot if I'm not intentional with my time with him and in my word with him, in prayer, because it'll overwhelm me, and it's one of the devil's tools that he uses to try to get back at me and get me to come back, to him and his way of living. So, just as an example for you, it's the only way we can combat those things is by having that faith in God and going to him with it, always. All right. So the prayer for this one is, Jesus, thank you for going before me. Nothing is unknown to you, even when I wonder how bills will get paid and how life is going to work out. You endured so much more in your life, yet you did it with joy. Help me to trust you, not just at the beginning of my journey, but every day until the very end. That's a great prayer. Let's read it one more time. Jesus, thank you for going before me. Nothing is unknown to you, even when I wonder how bills will get paid and how life is going to work out. You endured so much more in your life, yet you did it with joy. Help me to trust you, not just at the beginning of my journey, but every day until the very end. That's the goal, right? To trust him with every day, because that's the only way we're going to get through the day. The sooner that we all learn that and accept that we can't do this on our own, and that it's only through God that we can do this, the world will be a better place. So, great challenge for today. Love the prayer. Alpha and the Omega, guys. That's a great one, and it's a really awesome context to think about. So I will give you the further study, just in case you do want to dig a little deeper, read a little bit more, and then we'll close out. So the further study is John 1:3 and John 19:30, Hebrews 5:9, 12:2, and 13:8, Revelations 1:8 and 1:17. So So that's the further reading for you guys. If you do want to do a little bit more digging and that sort of thing, you are definitely more than welcome to do so. But other than that, that's all I have for y'all today. I hope this video reaches who it needs to, and finds somebody that could really use it to help with their walk and their faith. Maybe they're struggling or having a crisis of faith or something like that. I hope it reaches you today and that it helps. And other than that, I hope everybody has a wonderful day today, and I do wish you a Merry Christmas. It's coming up soon, so I hope everything is going well on that front as well. Everybody have a great day, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.